following segment is sponsored by Daniel A. White and Associates.
News and issues that affect the First State. Stay tuned for Del Aware PM Edition, starting at 6. Now, back to the Rick Jensen Show on WDEL.
Oh, man, the market's up, market's up, market's down, market's down, market's up. Oh, God. I'm a very happy camper client of Dan White and Associates, financial planners specializing in retirement income, and I like all the folks over there. They're all so smart, and they really know their stuff. Get a lot of good advice from all these guys. Andrew Wood's on the phone. Andrew is a financial planner based out of Middletown with Dan White and Associates. Andrew, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Rick. Thanks for having me today.
Oh, thanks for being had. So every Wednesday after the news at 1:30, we got some good advice, some good tips for you guys. What's today's?
So I've been reading a bunch of stuff on Social Security. There's some changes, not necessarily to the program, but I think people need to be aware of this if they're looking at either filing or getting in contact with Social Security over the next few months here. There's a big change starting March the 7th, and it's not necessarily a good one. They're changing kind of their workflow system. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but it sounds like it's going to get a little bit more complicated if you need to schedule an appointment with them specifically for initial filings.
Yeah, you can't just, it used to be, you just go online and you do this, and there it is online. However, apparently, reportedly, billions of dollars of fraud were happening online. So now it's like 1999 all over again. You have to actually go into the office.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
They're using or introducing what's the NASC, which is the National Appointment Scheduling Calendar, and the NWLM, which is the National Workload Management Program.
Uh-huh.
They're going to change the systems, and it sounds like all operations are going to be impacted on March the 7th. So that's probably not a great thing.
Why?
Well, it just delays. I mean, I've seen some issues in the past, and it's something that I can certainly help people with. A lot of times if they're looking to help, for help with filing, I'm pretty familiar with the online system, things like that. But yeah, I just we don't want more delays when it comes to this kind of stuff, especially if you're expecting a check and you need a check, coming in pretty soon. Assuming you retire. So any delays is usually not a good thing.
Well, I think that if you plan in advance, then you're going to be in pretty good shape. Like, for example, folks, you just call 888-690-8820. And, it's your number. And you call for Andrew and say, hey, I heard you on the Jensen Show. I'm 64 years old. I'm 62 years old. Maybe I better talk to this guy about Social Security because, I mean, if you can, the smart thing is always to wait till you're 70. Or I guess for some demographics, it's going to be like 72 or something. But right now, basically, wait until you get all the money you possibly can because unless you're in bad health. Then you're in bad health.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, I was actually talking to Dan this morning about this, and we're talking about what's it 2032, 2033, and delaying, and if they don't make any changes, then they're going to have to make some significant cuts, and you're probably looking at a 20% pay cut. But think about someone, and this is obviously kind of extreme, but someone who paid into the system the most at full retirement age. Let's say they were getting $4,000 a month, but if they waited until 70, you get $5,000, and if you get a 20% cut, because of the system. And, it's not solvent, then basically you're getting a 20% pay cut, which is back down to $4,000.
Yeah.
Which is still a lot of, it's a lot of money for a lot of people. So, I think if you're worried about, the system changing, and then making cuts to it, then, it might actually make sense to hold off even longer, but,
well, they're going to have to. And what do they do typically? Yeah. Typically what they do is they'll raise the amount of money that you have to make to no longer pay Social Security. Oh, okay. That's pretty typical. They raise the age of retirement. Okay, well, that's pretty typical. And I think many years ago, decades ago, they actually raised the tax on that as well. What are some of the other things that they've done? That's all I can think of.
Yeah, so this is actually something that I came across just between like think tanks, voter opinion, special interest groups. That was the first one they mentioned, was increasing the taxable maximum ceiling on income. Yeah. So currently in 2026, it's $184,500. If you make beyond that, you stop paying Social Security taxes for the year. They're looking at increasing the payroll tax from 12.4% to 12.6%. Mm-hmm. So increasing the payroll tax could be an option. Increasing that higher retirement age for higher earners. And then the other thing they're considering is maybe taxing all Social Security benefits for higher earners. So currently at maximum, very maximum, you're paying 85% of your Social Security can be taxable. Maybe they eliminate that. Mm-hmm. But from my understanding, there's over 200 pieces of legislation that have been kind of stacked up over the last 20 years.
God. Yeah. Jeez, yeah. You know what you're saying? I get what you're saying, because it's a lot easier to go online and just do that and apply and do it that way, because I know. And I know a lot of other folks who have done that. But unfortunately, you got so many scam artists who are not just in this country; they're in other countries as well, and they've pulled billions of dollars out of Social Security, as even the disability insurance portion. So what do? You say, well, you make people apply online until you figure out how to make it more secure. I was talking about, we were talking about voting online, and a guy says we should just be able to do it online. I'm thinking, banks people get their accounts hacked every day, and there are thousands, even the ones where they're doing the whiteout on the check. You put a check into the mail and somebody steals it, and they make it out to somebody else with your signature on it. That's like 13,000 times a week. And now you take online, like I said before, it's really cool that you can actually do your banking on your phone. It's really scary that you can do your banking on your phone. And what else could they do, though? I don't know, except to say, look, and by the way, it's not just signing up. It's also if you want to change your bank. So if you want to change your bank, you're also going to have to go into the office physically as well. You can't just do that online anymore, because scammers are stealing money from people. In
a perfect world, and with normal people, it sounds wonderful, but you're right. There's just too much stuff, going on out there, and it's kind of scary.
It is, but it's slowing down the process. And again, I think this is good. Knowledge is power, folks. And you listen to the Jensen show, you listen to guys like Andrew, and you learn, wow, I'm 58 years old, and I better start talking about somebody about specifically, okay, based upon what today's rules are, knowing that some things will change in the future, but based upon today's rules, when can you apply? When should you apply? Are you going to be working till you're 70? Do you have enough? All that. And guys like Andrew, they calculate this. They can calculate based upon, some assumptions of inflation, the CPI, and also maybe, how much more Social Security is going to increase every year. Like to this year, I think this year is going to like 2.6 or 2.8%, something like that. The benefits?
For the upcoming year?
Yeah, for 2026.
We're not. Yeah, we're not. I don't think we're going to get anywhere near that information until.
Okay, I saw.
It's only February, right?
Yeah, I saw some estimates of where it's going. That's all. But I know you want to deal on the hard facts, and so you should. Me, I can conjecture. So. See, he's the fact-based guy. I'm the talk show host. So, I was reading a couple of sites there where they were looking at some estimates for this year. So, it's important to sit down and figure out, okay, well, how are we going to do this? And if it's going to be personal, in person, physically in person, then you should make a plan for that. And if it's going to be a long line to get in there, right?
Our general rule of thumb, and this is for years and years ago, it's been going on for years, was always, say 2-3 months out, prior, you probably want to get the ball rolling. I don't know if this change is going to push that even further. I guess, like, do you want to you want to get the process going before 3 months? Because I don't know if this is going to cause more delays.
Well, I would.
So that could be an issue.
That's me. I'd like to be over-prepared. Try to get things as right. Is there anything else you discovered here that might be problematic?
No, that's it for today. But again, that was just something that kind of, when I see a specific date, you want to be prepared for that. So you know, it's one of those things where it's important to know that they're changing the systems, and it sounds like there's going to be more delays in processing. Might take a little longer. So if it's something that you're worried about, obviously you want to get ahead of it.
Exactly. Like if your birthday's now, and you're thinking, all right, I'll do it sometime. Well, you might want to do it before March the 7th. And and I haven't looked at this. That's March the 7th, right? Is that the date?
Correct.
Okay. I wonder, and I don't know, but I wonder if that's also the same date when they say, okay, if you want to change your bank, change the bank into which Social Security payments are being paid, you have to go into an office as well. I know that's part of what they're doing, but I don't know if that's also going to be on that March 7 date. Do you?
I'm not positive now.
Oh, that's cool. No, I appreciate the fact that, look, it came out today. You're right now wrestling with this, and we can get an update next week, and that'd be fine. That'd be good. All right?
Thank you, Rick.
I know, you sound like a guy who's been studying this stuff all day long, and you're exhausted. You're like, oh my God, you're trying to do the very best for your clients and to try to keep up with this stuff. Good job, good job, Andrew. I'm glad you're doing this and not me. That'd be tough. On Sunday morning at 7:00 here on 101.7 FM and 11:50 AM WDEL, also streaming to whatever device you like to use. Dan White brings you On the Money at 7 a.m. on the WDEL. Have yourself some breakfast and learn something. Andrew, take care, my friend. Have a great day.
You too. Thanks, Rick. Thanks for having me.
All right, buddy. Bye-bye.